About a decade ago, almost half of all Americans, from office workers to the most powerful people of White House, had a Blackberry smartphone. Its creator, a Canadian company called RIM, is considered a pioneer in the mobile phones industry. When, in 2002, it introduced the first Blackberry that awed the world. But just imagine, today, Blackberry has 0% share of the smartphone market. How did Blackberry fall from such heights? Well, while the company strongly adhered to financial planning and marketing strategies, it failed to protect itself from potential competitors. In order to avoid Blackberry's fate, investment management professor Greenwald and Kahn offer an easy-to-follow method to understand the competitive structure of a particular industry and protecting it from new entrants. Generally, a failure to keep up with a changing market scenarios may come as a consequence of mistakes in a company's strategy and vision. For many executives, the analysis of an industry environment can be really difficult due to many stakeholders and factors involved. As you know, there are substitutes, suppliers, potential entrants, buyers, and competitors, according to Michael Porter. But even those managers who are able to evaluate all these elements may fail to predict that some stronger competitors may enter the market and lure their customers. What would be solution then? How can a company foresee the entrance of new players in the industry? Well, in fact, in today's volatile and unpredictable world of business, it's not easy for enterprise to predict the looming competition. But there is still one thing companies can do in order to keep their strong position in the market. Instead of analyzing all the forces at once, sometimes it would be more efficient to focus on a single element of the competitive environment, which is called barriers to entry, a competitive advantage that underlines potential rivals. This idea was offered by investment management professors Greenwald and Kahn, who simplify the theory offered by Porter. In their book, Competition Demystified, the author states external strategic analysis plays a more important role than an internal focus on financial details, marketing strategy, branding, or differentiation. If companies manage to pursue a strong competitive advantage, or in other words, are able to do what others cannot, they can build some sort of a moat around their business in order to fence off potential rivals. According to the authors, there are three forms of competitive advantage that could raise entry barriers: supply benefits, demand advantage, and economies of scale. Let's now go through each of them in more detail. Supply benefits may come in a form of cost advantage, For example, proprietary technology like patents, experience, exclusive supplier agreements, or expertise. All these would have companies supply unique products and services at much lower cost than competitors. Demand advantage can be achieved through customer captivity based on rapid switch costs and expense of searching a new substitute product. Just imagine, even if your competitors come up with a product, let's say, better in terms of quality, it would be hard for your clients to try it, as sometimes customers tend to have certain consumption habits and the switching costs may be high. Finally, let's tackle the last advantage related to the economies of scale. That is an ability to reduce costs per unit as volume increases due to spreading fixed costs of a big number of units sold. Once a firm has all the advantages I have just mentioned above, the entry barriers are built and the company becomes protected against any potential newcomers. Let's now turn to some real-world examples in order to see how these concepts work in practice. And one of these newcomers in the mobile industry was Apple, a company that discovered a breach in the Blackberry barriers and managed to dominate the market just a couple of years. Until 2012, BlackBerry enjoyed its high returns and operated within certain barriers thanks to the technology it had. Actually, the company managed to effectively use two of the main benefits related to supply advantage and economies of scale. It had technical knowledge, patents, experience, and as well as exclusive supply contract with government and business. To some extent, it also reached the economies of scale. In fact, the biggest problem was on demand side, which opened the way for new competitors to enter in the industry. Furthermore, the company focused on the wrong end market, sticking to its existing corporate customers, while Apple and other companies like Google started to build smartphones for the mass consumer. But how did Apple discover what customers wanted? Well, it realized that new smartphones needed to have user-friendly interface, different types of cameras, and more important, a wide variety of apps. And this is what we like about smartphones today, right? BlackBerry, on the other hand, catered to its existing clients that generate most of their revenue and neglected the end market of non-customers that eventually turned the most profitable. The company also reacted too slowly to the change in the customer's preference and habits. It dismissed Apple touchscreens, insisting that users preferred a physical keyboard. Apparently, the switching costs for smartphone users were low, which allowed Apple to successfully poach BlackBerry consumers. Apart from this, the firm did not manage to understand the changing value proposition of a smartphone as a platform for their personal use and entertainment. As we can observe here, the baton was passed to Apple, which later on was able to build its own long-term entry barriers. Indeed, nowadays, there are two main mobile operating systems, Android and iOS, that to some extent can be considered a barrier for any new smartphone developers. A failure of Blackberry on the demand side made the company lose the smartphone war, and this case suggests that any obsession with the strategy that completely ignores a possible entry of the new competitors is doomed to fail. Undoubtedly, managers should keep in mind that some practices, such as competitive intelligence or reverse engineering, in no way mean espionage or patent breakage. But within ethical and legal limits, it is possible to understand competitors' strategy in their impacts on markets, offering perspectives so that the company can walk its own path and remain relevant to its customers. I hope that this video will help you make better decisions and implement more efficient changes in your company. Thanks for watching this case study. Do you have any other examples of companies that did not manage to protect their business against newcomers? Please do not hesitate to share your opinion with us in the comments. This video is part of the free crash course on competition Demystified Blackberry Company case study. To subscribe, click on the link that is available in the description of this video. The best students receive a certificate of participation and apply for a scholarship for exchange programs in the State University of New York. Thanks again and see you soon, here on the American Business Channel or on our social networks. See you soon.